Hello, welcome and good evening to We Build on DeFiChain, the format which presents you community projects, what they're building in the background and helping DeFiChain ecosystem. If you like this show, then please give us a like. Also subscribe to the channel, click the bell button so you will not miss the shows in future. And today it's a very special version because it's the first version covering a Meta Chain project, and I'm very happy that Santiago is joining the show and starting this, I have to say, a series of Jellyverse. Welcome, Santiago. How are you?
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks. I'm great. I'm great. I mean, it's a bit late today, so it's been a long work day, but I'm really happy to be here on the show again and present our ideas and talk about DeFi Meta Chain. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, very happy. So I said before, Jellyverse, it's not only one product, one service, it's a kind of universe, Jellyverse, on Meta Chain. And you are building a lot of things. The one of other already saw it on your Reddit post or whatever you published before. And so I would say we start today to cover all the things you are building in the background because nobody saw something till now. And you prepared also some slides and can give us more insights, hopefully, what you are building there. So thanks again. And the stage is yours. How do you want to start?
Okay, great. I think we can go through the slides and then whenever you have questions or any idea or inputs, just feel free to stop me.
Cool. Then here's your presentation.
All right. So let's go. Let's explore Jellyverse. So we brought a presentation here. It contains some of the slides that we have for the whole universe. Of course, as you said, Daniel, it's a bit too much to cover this in one show, so we decided to structure this maybe in 3 videos, maybe more. Let's see. But let's get right into it. So Jellyverse is supposed to be a universe which is ruled by Jelly. So Jelly is in the middle of all of this, and it's supposed to give the whole Jellyverse, the whole ecosystem that we're gonna build on top of DMC, a face and a character. It's like, that would be very cool. And the whole idea of Jellyverse, when we started thinking about this, was how can we bring more utility to DeFi chain? And we were thinking a lot, especially when DMC was announced, and we knew that EVM compatibility is going to come to DeFi chain. And then I spent a lot of time thinking about how also the UTXO side and the EVM side is going to work together, and in what this can actually translate into. And we decided in the end that we want to be on the side where we put the utility and bring the utility forward of the whole chain. And for this, we designed this ecosystem, which basically, as of right now, which is the state, contains out of JellySwap. This is an exchange, Jelly Bonds, Jelly Stake, Jelly USD, and the Jelly token itself. And the whole idea, of course, is that the whole Jellyverse as one thing grows with the community and its own community that people are going to join and develop with us together. And maybe the Jellyverse in future will contain of 10 or maybe 20 protocols. That would be really great. And the whole idea of Jellyverse is that we set up a DAO, and I'm very happy that this will be the first DAO that we will ever see on that we see on DeFi chain. Hopefully not the last one. And the mission really is here to push forward utility, to develop protocols, to onboard developers. And when you try to do this, when you really try to establish a big project, this is not only the development side, right? So you have a lot of legal things, you need legal frameworks, you need brand guidelines, you need to map out the ideas, and you also need to somehow put everything together into one package that it really makes sense, right? So you don't want to just mix up random protocols, or it really helps if you have like a streamlined process for this. And this is what we try to do with the DAO. So the DAO is supposed to be a place where community members can join us, can participate in this, and can really forge the whole ecosystem forward, and then which, of course, in the end, push forward DMC as a whole. And here's again another overview slide real quick about Jellyverse and ecosystem right now. So again, we have the Jelly token. The Jelly token is supposed to be the governance token inside of Jellyverse. It's also going to be a utility token, meaning that you can use it inside of the whole Jellyverse. You need it for pools. You will need it for collateral. You can use it to pay fees. And there will be a lot of small and very important factors that give your Jelly a lot of utility inside its own ecosystem. And then there's JellySwap, Jelly Bond, Jelly Stake, and Jelly US Dollar. And today we're going to dive a bit deeper into JellySwap, and then in the next episodes we can cover the other protocols. So JellySwap, again, is a decentralized exchange. And of course, one of the first projects that we should see coming live on DeFi Meta Chain are decentralized exchanges, because it's obviously basic infrastructure that we need for the DEX, for the whole chain to run, to people list new tokens, to have a place where you can trade against all of those assets, and you don't need to always bridge back to native DeFi side. So we thought a DEX is definitely a good starting point for our ecosystem. And then we thought about which DEX makes the most sense to enrich what the native DEX is already offering to us. And on the native DEX side, we already have pools that contains out of 2 tokens, and we can trade all those tokens with each other. We also have composite swaps so that we can trade from one token to whichever token I want to have. That's pretty cool. So we thought about, we looked at the market, and we saw that Balancer would be a very, very great fit for DeFiChain. And the idea, or like the reason behind this, is that Balancer offers the opportunity to have more than 2 tokens in one pool. So you can come up with complete portfolios. And then we spin the whole idea out of JellySwap, that JellySwap will basically give you an automatic decentralized portfolio manager, in meaning that you can set up a portfolio with the tokens you want to have on the DEX, and the nature of the DEX itself rebalance your position. And then if you think about it, you actually spin down the complete, you spin the concept completely upside down. It's like you're having a rebalanced portfolio, and normally to get a rebalanced portfolio, you need to pay fees, right? So you go to your fund manager, or you pay a service that they take care of your portfolio. And here on the decentralized exchange, it's like it's like the impermanent loss becomes a feature, right? And we thought this is a really cool idea, and it especially works extremely good with like stock tokens or any kind of special tokens that represent very interesting values, right? So if you look at many decentralized exchanges on other platforms, especially on Ethereum land, you see a lot of DEXs with like a bunch of utility tokens and other assets. And I'm not questioning like each token by itself, but in the end, you mostly have this user landscape where you just trade from utility token to utility token. And I think one goal that we have for JellySwap is here to go into really automatic decentralized portfolios, have very interesting allocations and portfolios you can use inside the pools. You have those weighted pools, so you can shift between the ratios you have inside a pool. And all of this is basically extending what our native DeFi DEX is currently supporting on DeFiChain. And how that works is very interesting. And also pretty simple. So we know that there's this value function behind normal pools, that the value of your investment keeps always constant, right? So again, the 2 tokens that you maybe have on DeFiChain, let's say DeFi and Bitcoin, they can relatively to each other change. So it can be that you have more Bitcoin or less Bitcoin in the pool, depending on how the prices change. But the relative amount that you put in is the same. Of course, if both assets increase in US dollar value, you still have more US dollar value than you put in at the beginning, but you are not losing it. And that's basically where JellySwap and where this math behind Balancer really picked up into this decentralized portfolio structure. And how's this going to look like? It's pretty simple, and more interesting is going to be what not we are going to put here on the slide, but what the community is going to come up with. So you can have standard pools. Let's assume you have Jelly DeFi, Bitcoin Jelly, Ethereum Jelly. Those could be like pretty standard 2 asset pools, and that's just it. But then you can come up with portfolio pools, and you could actually build an all-weather portfolio on the DEX, right? So you have like one click, you get into 8 tokens, and then you're automatically rebalanced in this. And you earn block rewards, you earn transaction fees. But you also could come up with like other allocations. An example could be, for example, Bitcoin, Gold, Silver, Jelly, DFI, or maybe a stablecoin pool where you have like 3 stablecoins, as we see is very, very popular on Curve. This is one of the most traded pools in the whole DeFi landscape. And in general, you can come up with up to 8 tokens in one pool. You can have any combination that is imaginable. So Daniel, if you have a great idea for a great portfolio, you can call it Daniel Zirkel's portfolio and put it online. Anybody can set up a pool. And we can also have managed pools, and there's some other pool structures as well. So you could also come up, for example, with a pool that you link to your address, and you can set the fees. You can remove a token. You can add new tokens. And of course, this is a feature which centralizes it. Many users maybe don't want to get into managed pools, but maybe some users or maybe some companies want to establish managed pools. So that could be an interesting feature.
Okay. I have some questions. A very interesting concept. So we will see a lot of pools. I'm pretty sure that the one or other will build up their own pool because they think about something very special which was not before. If I use the DEX, do I choose the pool, or together all pools together are combining or creating the liquidity? So do I have to choose the 3 pool pair or 8 pool pair pool if I want to swap JUSD to DUSDC, or is it just to get out of the liquidity?
Yeah, so JellySwap has something which is called like Smart Order Router. It's a bit like the composite swap, but it does more. So it calculates which route is the best route to use for you to make the swap. And I think this is one of the challenges that JellySwap will face. You will have like a bunch of portfolios that is like created by the community, and then some of them will like establish as really, really useful, right? You will have a lot of people who exactly want this allocation. And then you have more volumes in those pools, and then those pools will be the main swap routes.
Okay, so you are using pools. You are not using the DEX overall. The pools need a kind of liquidity. It makes no sense if just one user set up a pool and no other will join, then it's not usable.
Correct. You need some sort of liquidity, and then obviously you can, for example, you have Jelly and you want to have it. You want to have Bitcoin. That's a standard route, but if you have one token that bridges into something, then you can hop through the pools, right? And then you can swap into any asset.
Okay, understood. There was a question from Christian Pedersen, if I can show it. How works it with the Oracle price? I think this is towards this all-weather portfolio. So if you are putting different D assets to build it up, how does it work? That the ratio is correct?
Yeah, this is an interesting thing when we talk now about the D assets, because how we see prices right now on the DEX, everything is coupled to DUSD, right? So how those tokens will behave on JellySwap, I'm not quite sure yet. So we will need to see when we don't test on testnet how we can do that. Yeah.
Okay. And maybe easier question: where's the number of maximum 8 tokens come from?
Yeah, this is connected to slippage. So theoretically, we could have whatever amount. It could be 50 tokens, it could be more. But when you have more tokens in a pool, the slippage ratio changes. Also, when you change the ratios, like the weights in a single pool, slippage changes as well. So that's like one of the disadvantages to have that. If you have like 50-50 pools, that's like the optimum for slippage. In most cases, if you change the ratios, it increases, and if you go more than 10 tokens, then probably slippage will be too high for trading.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so to sum it up a little bit, the feature overview in general. So we have those weighted pools. You can have also 2 token pools where you, for example, say I want to have 80% DFI and 20% Bitcoin. So that's kind of like going long into one asset. Of course, if the asset you're betting on is falling against the other one, then it was not a good bet. But that's always the case, right? theoretically, the balancer fork gives us also the opportunity to bring flash loans on chain. But for now, we decided to actually deactivate this because we don't want to like use it right now. I mean, maybe in a short future, and if there's like more projects building on DMC, it might get interesting to activate this feature. But for now, we will leave it out. We have the up to 8 tokens per pool. Everyone can set up a pool. It's also a place where people can build on, right? So there's like this liquidity bootstrapping. You can actually like start your own project on JellySwap. There's like mechanisms for this. You have the portfolios. Theoretically, we can also give out price oracles from our DEX, which I'm also right now not quite sure if we will do this, especially not in V1. And yeah, you have reduced slippage and fee for stable swaps. That's maybe something very interesting that I didn't cover now.
Okay.
The people that are maybe used to Curve as a DEX, that are familiar with Curve, they know that Curve is so famous because of their stable swap with the extremely low slippage, right? So you can swap like $1 million USDC against like $1 million USDT, and you have barely slippage. And the math behind this is also integrated in balancers. So it's also going to be inside of JellySwap, meaning that if we're going to come up with a pool, maybe with like 3 stable coins or 2 stable coins or maybe 4 stable coins, then you can, if you have enough volume inside a pool, have very, very efficient swaps in this. And yeah, we have the composite swaps, and we have a bunch of features to reduce gas fees, but I don't think this will be so necessary on DMC for now.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds really great. If you're through the presentation, I would change the scene that we can see you better. Really great. I like the idea, your thoughts in advance to say, okay, what is different to the DEX we have here, because we have a native DEX, combined with the thoughts of, okay, what can also help DeFi chain. So if we move the D assets out of the native layer to DMC, what can we build with this D assets, this portfolio? We are setting up pools in a kind of balanced way, and this brings additional utility to our D assets. A really, really great. Wow, what to develop so far in the background to say, okay, it's not just another DEX, like many others, for sure. They also bring some value, but especially the thoughts behind, okay, what is the difference? How can we improve the overall situation? Really, really great behind. I'm looking forward to this.
I think it will be very interesting which assets in the end will make their way. And also, I mean, when it comes to the assets, it's people will see like if they want to have it, in which exposure they want to have it. Community will vote on all of that, right? I'm also very interested to see how prices would develop. We discussed this quickly, right? If we would see some of those assets trading at a discount, that could happen. So I don't want to overhype the situation, but it sets the stage for being flexible. So you can do whatever you want to do. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to have interesting assets on DeFi chain to push this forward.
Yeah, and also having a second DEX to trade the D assets in another way gives us the opportunity to arbitrage also our native layer then. Yeah, if we move out, DEX swapped into another one, move back, can also help to balance the prices on the native side towards the Oracle, because you just have another opportunity. So far we are on our own ecosystem, no way out, and you are building now a new way, a second chance to have a kind of balancing in a different way. That's, I think, the very important thing. If you put up the same pools towards DUSD, they will have the same ratio. It's just like a bigger pool. It's the same, but with this new up to 8 token pools. I'm really interested how this plays out in the overall. DeFi chain ecosystem can be very interesting. Who finds out the way to arbitrage and make money with this kind of tool? Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. The one or other will find a way.
Yeah, and arbitrage is always volume for the DEX, right? So if you think about how
Correct.
to bring in some trading volume and to earn fees for, then in the end, we will cover it, like how the system is set up and why fees are important, so on and so on. But yeah.
Great. Yeah, so far I have no concrete question to this JellySwap. Maybe the question the most people will ask is when? When is something live? When can we play around? Maybe on testnet? Any plans so far?
Yeah, of course. So we're working intensively already since weeks, and I mean we started the whole concept months ago, but yeah. So we are not communicating concrete timelines because we want to avoid.
You know the play.
I know the play. So we want to surprise people in a positive way and not in a negative way. So we're saying end of the year, but
Okay.
I'm confident that we will see maybe a bit earlier. Let's see.
Okay, great. Yeah, there are no more questions in the chat. If you have nothing more to add on JellySwap, I would say thank you for joining the show. It's a very good time also, 22 minutes now. I would say we see you again here because your presentation has some more slides after JellySwap. You introduced the Jellyverse. More will come, and I would say see you soon here on stage with what is next topic? Do you know it already?
Yeah, most likely stablecoin JUSD.
Okay, and then with the new stablecoin here on stage. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Santiago.
Daniel. Thanks for the invitation.
Everyone out there, thanks for joining, and see you soon here on We Build on DeFiChain, Jellyverse, and stablecoin JUSD. Have a great evening and bye bye.